we thought. Infections are spiking up, and when you compare the infection numbers with the infection numbers back in March, April, it looks really terrifying. But of course, you're not comparing like with like, are you?
Absolutely not. So, approximately, you in the UK are doing around 20 times more testing than in April 2020. So, people need to let that sink in. So, if you do 20 times the testing, guess what? You're going to see more positive results. The other thing is the PCR test finds viral fragments. So, it will find many false positives by the nature of the test. It will find people who had the illness a month ago or more. And it will find, people who have extremely low viral load where it really has no technical meaning or transmissibility. And a small number of those people positive will be a genuine case, if you will, who are symptomatic and maybe transmissible. But they're using the full number. They're not using the fraction that is relevant. So that creates this kind of casedemic situation because the mortality impacts are relatively small. All deaths are sad, but that's the reality. And ICU is around 25 per day coming in. So, roughly speaking, that's around one person per million coming into ICU every 2.5 days. So, again, like you said, perspective. We've got a very slow rise. Spain and France have proved the trajectory. Utterly different than back in April. And the science says that that would happen. The first passing of a new virus hits hard because of immuno-naive people and a lot of susceptible people to it. But then after that, you get more community immunity. The susceptible have passed. And the following winter, when you have a new group of more susceptible people who have become more aged or more stage 4 cancers, etc., you're going to get some impact. But I'd expect it's more like a standard winter respiratory
Well, this
mortality.
is it. This sort of this rise in the autumn. It's been blamed on the Eat Out to Help Out campaign. It's been blamed on young people going to school, going to university. The government's campaign to get people back to work. We were always, when we hit September, going to start seeing a rise in cases. That's the nature of seasonal illnesses.
Absolutely. And we have the Glasgow study, the 15-year study of 50,000 people, and we see without exception, when you come into autumn and winter, coronaviruses rise in prevalence, just like the other similar viruses. So it's inevitable you're going to see more SARS-CoV-2. But the big question is, do you see a disproportionate and exceptional increase in excess respiratory mortality over prior winters? Because we all know what we did for the prior winters of all of history. We just washed our hands maybe if they were bad and, kept our distance from elderly. So if we're going to do exceptional measures now that are completely dramatically different than ever in history, but we've got the same kind of scenario as we had in history in other winters, you got to ask the question, exceptional measures, have we got an exceptional situation?